welcome to the Work for Change podcast. It's your host, Jean.
And your other host, John. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with us. This is episode 92 of the Work for Change podcast. It reminds me of 1992, which is the year I was born, just in case you were wondering.
Also, the year my wife was born. I was going to say that it was a terrible year, but that would probably offend.
Yeah. You'd be sleeping outside.
Yeah. Which it's been hot enough to do. But I wouldn't.
Hot enough? It's been too hot to do.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's been gross.
Really gross. And humid?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So, we have a couple things we want to say right away. The first one is you might see us wearing some sick merch.
Yeah.
We just released this is for sure our biggest merch drop, if you will,
ever.
And when it comes to variety, when it comes to availability, when it comes to designs, men's shirts, women's shirts, hats, stickers, etc., etc. You want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, man. So we have two different men's shirts. So we have, if you guys are watching, I'm wearing the white pocket tee, which is like it's more of a lifestyle shirt. So it's not as fitted. It's not it's like a more of a thick material. I really, really like this shirt a lot. And it's like an oversized shirt.
When he says thick material, we're not talking work shirts. They're not you're not gonna die wearing them.
Yeah,
it's just not like the thin,
the super thin
cotton poly.
Yeah. So it's just like a different type of shirt than we've ever made. Yeah. And so we have the white pocket tee, and then we have the classic logo tee, which is what Jean is wearing, which is like your standard workout, super thin, soft shirt.
Yeah. Fits around your biceps, nice.
Yeah, it's it has a nice tapered fit. And then we have the two hats. So I'm wearing what we're calling the dad performance hat.
Yeah.
Which is it's like a, was it polyester, I think is the material.
Something.
And it's like sweat, you can sweat in it and all that stuff. And then we also have trucker hats, which is what Jean's wearing, more regular, standard snapback kind of hat. And then we also have ladies tanks, and they're unbelievably soft, and I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And then also stickers right there. But this has been something we've been working on it for a very, 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 very long time.
And it's cool to see it come into fruition.
Yeah, finally happen. So they're pre-sale. I just want to make sure that you guys know that. So if you order it, it's not like it's going to be there the next day.
Yeah.
Because we basically need to prove that we can sell enough to make it make sense with the people we're working with. Just full disclosure. So if you're thinking about getting them, seriously, it would mean so much.
It would help us out a lot.
Yeah, it would help us out a lot.
This supplier is super awesome, and they're super they do a lot for us, and both of us having our jobs and stuff like that, it makes the job so much easier. So let's just show to them that our crew cares.
Yeah.
Number one, but also if you go to workforchangepodcast.com, with the rebranding, with the merch launch, with all that, we also finally got a website up.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot that we're really trying to push into. If you're looking, you see this awesome banner. We're really making this podcast
more legit.
Let's make it people have said it's the most organized, unorganized podcast or whatever, which will still always be that.
Yeah.
But at least we'll look good when we do it.
Yeah. I'll look good. Jean will look.
I'll be.
Jean looks,
yeah. It'll be.
Which is standard.
It'll be me, and then Obese to Beast.
Yeah.
It'll be Obese to Beast and that other guy he does the podcast with.
Yeah, and that one guy.
Which I'm fine with.
Who has a similar name to him, which makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the other thing that we want to shoot right out of the gate with is this week we were in the top almost 50 of health and fitness podcasts, which is awesome.
Yeah, seriously.
For a couple reasons. One, when we first started, we were right up there at the top because there was a lot of hype. A lot of people were helping us out. They were leaving a lot of reviews.
That's just normal, yeah.
Yeah, the fitness space. I feel even within the last year, how many podcasts have we heard that have started, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can name a couple health and fitness podcasts that have started since we started.
So
right?
basically, we need you guys to give us more likes so we can crush them.
Yeah, exactly. But we were, so this week we're in the top 52.
Yeah. So by top 52, we were 52.
Yeah, exactly. So if what we could do is if we can break into that top 50 again, that'd be awesome. It gives us exposure, and the way you do that is
by leaving a review on iTunes if you want to do that, and then if you want to leave like a 5-star
five-star rating.
Leave a rating, and then if you want to leave a review, that's awesome. But the rating is the most important thing. And also, so if we had a conversation earlier about this. So if we break into the top 25, we're gonna have a pizza party. So
We did talk about that?
yeah.
Who are we having the pizza party with? Just me and you?
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have a pizza party.
We're going to have pizza and we're going to
Yeah.
eat it during next podcast. So
Yeah,
then it'll just be like,
yeah.
hey guys, welcome to the Pork for Change podcast.
You remember pizza parties back in middle school? And it was like,
Dude.
if we do this, we'll get a pizza party.
Yeah. No, I'm not hating on the pizza party. I'm just trying to think about the logistics of it.
Yeah, no. We'll have Papa John's deliver, you know.
We'll have Papa John's deliver pizza to every single person
Yeah.
who left a review.
Yeah, every single person that left a review, and it'll be actually Papa John.
Just be him. Just
He'll
leave
be doing
your
it.
yeah.
He'll come to your house.
Just some like
I've had 50 pizzas in the
just
last.
some like just disheveled drunk just showing up to your
Well, he's not a disheveled drunk. You just make that up.
Just based off that one interview. He's had better
40
days.
pizzas in the last 40 days.
50 pizzas. Yeah, no. So it turns out that he had 50 like slices of pizza
Yeah.
from different.
He had pieces of pizza from 50 different pizzas. is what he was trying
not
to say.
50 whole pizzas
Yeah.
or 40 whole pizzas in 30 days. Man.
So how have you been, bro? What you've been up to?
Just working on making sure that this launch is good and smooth, and every spare second I'm like, okay, what can I post on social media now to get the attention out? What can I edit on the website to make it more user friendly? And
So
you know what I mean?
basically what we're trying to do with like, and correct me if I'm wrong because you're the mastermind. But what we want to do with like Work for Change is we want to turn it into more than just a podcast, right? And so I'm sure you guys have all heard that from every podcast you listen to. You're like, okay, whatever. But like, I think that it has the potential to be more than that because Work for Change stands for so much more than just. I mean, it can work in, it can work in any aspect of life.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so it's like.
So the reason, so this all started with the decide to rebrand. We wanted to rebrand because we wanted something that, like a symbol that stood for something. And so our last brand, which was awesome and very fitting for our season of life right then, didn't translate well. Like, it wasn't good as a really small logo. It didn't hold up on its own.
Well, we didn't make it as a logo.
Exactly.
We made it as a shirt design,
Yeah.
and then it turned into a logo,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So, with our new brand, the Delta, or whatever, I think that's just what we're calling it, the Delta, that is intentional.
Yeah, it stands for
to
things.
stand on its own as an, like, everyone always talks about Nike, you know what I mean? But it's like Nike, you see that symbol and you don't even need to have the word. Or Apple, you see the symbol, you don't need the word. We wanted something that you can see our symbol and you didn't even need the word. And it stands alone from any podcast merch or wording or whatever, but also we wanted to have some sick font, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think our font is pretty cool. The whole logo type on its own is something pretty cool, but it's a launching point to create what I want to create is a brand around, surrounding around just the desire to not settle where you are. And so the reason when we started the podcast on the very first episode, we talked about why we wanted to make this podcast. And you can talk about your reasoning, we can just go back to that. But like my reasoning was, I wasn't happy with where I was in life. And so what I did is I learned a skill. And the way I learned that skill, and the skill being video editing, the way I learned that skill was I started doing YouTube videos. Just because I was like, this is the easiest way to edit videos is to make my own. So then I started making videos and I was editing, and I was learning, and I was watching, and I was learning. And then eventually I was able to turn my job into that random skill that I learned. And I am still doing that to this day. And I am still progressing and growing and learning, and my pay and my whatever is still going up. Like,
what's crazy about that is like at the start of the podcast, you had not just stopped, but like it wasn't that long since you had worked at Starbucks, and like you didn't know what you wanted to do. You didn't really have an aim in life.
My goal was to try to. At first, it was to try to. Oh yeah, not at first, but when I was at Starbucks, it was, I guess I'll just work my way up Starbucks because it was like the easiest, most obvious thing. It was like,
yeah, and
Starbucks
you were good there too.
Yeah.
You did a good job there.
And Starbucks is a huge company. I was just like, there's no end. Like, there's like, I'm never gonna reach the top.
Yeah.
I can always progress and get better. There's no ceiling. Felt like
unless you become the CEO or something.
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't see myself becoming.
Yeah.
Like, it's like as far as I was concerned, I could grow until I didn't want to grow anymore.
Yeah.
There was
you could have.
Yeah.
But I know you and you didn't. That was not for you.
Yeah.
Like in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what's crazy is like you started video editing as like you wanted to make YouTube videos. Like literally, it was like I want to make YouTube videos, and I just remember like you kind of made
my first video was my first video was a cover.
Yeah.
Using my laptop's webcam. And then the second video was from a T1i that I bought off Craigslist that didn't even have a flip out screen or anything. I just was like, oh man, I hope I'm in. And so I would go back. I put my hand out and try to see if that was in focus. Like it was like, and then I was asked you about like Premiere Pro because I think I was trying to use iMovie or something. And so then I bought the Premiere Pro package, and then I was like, cool, they'll have all these sound effects and all this cool stuff. And I was like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
If anything, it's nothing, and you have to learn. And so then I started looking up YouTube videos on how to edit YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then that was where it all started. And those were bad videos. And it was, your first videos are your worst videos. The first thing you do is always going to be the worst. Like that's progression is slow, but it's building, and you build on top of it.
Yeah, so it's just crazy, like seeing, like where you started and where you are now, because you literally your whole job is editing videos now.
Yeah,
like, and creating,
Yeah,
all of that, of that stuff.
Like I've been able to. First of all, you sang a Hamilton song on accident right there.
Did I?
So yeah.
What song was it?
Look where you are and where you started.
Sing it.
Look at where you are. Look at where you started.
Jean
the fact
has a
that
good
you're
voice.
alive is a miracle. But yeah, like my job now is being able to be like graphic design, which I learned from YouTube, photography, which I've learned from YouTube, videography and video editing, which I learned from YouTube. Like this whole job I have is just from like, I don't know how to do this, so let me try. And I still regularly am looking up how to do things to do my job on YouTube all the time. But that's the thing. Like that's the whole. We don't like. You're not stuck where you are. Like you can work. You can like with a little bit of intention and a whole bunch of work ethic. Like you can get out of where you are. And so that's why even though like, and there was a time when we were kind of like we were just kind of going through the motions for this podcast. I would say for about the halfway mark of this podcast, we kind of got to this. Oh, this is what we film. This is what we do. We just do the podcast, and we didn't have a lot of intention behind it. And so then I started losing like motivation and excitement. And so now that we're like, okay, no, let's do this and let's put intent behind it. It's like, yeah, let's do this. Like I'm totally in, and I want to support any way I can. And like recognizing like the role, like this is like super behind the scenes stuff, I guess, but like,
this is how we do it, man.
Yeah. Like recognizing the roles, like I will never be that face that people are like, oh, I want to buy the product because that person does it. You know what I mean? Like that won't be me. I will not be the face of a brand, but I can offer the creative elements. I can help like, once our design person sent all of these files, it was like...
His name is Chad.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
like,
you know.
313 Productions, look it up. But like, once he created this, I was able to put it in formats in which we could send to our distributor for these shirts and stuff like that. And like having the knowledge of being like, oh, we need to make this banner. Cool. Well, I need to open Illustrator. I need to make it this file. Like having all that knowledge, it's like, plus the like social media stuff that I know from doing social media for various companies. It's just kind of like that is where I can help and I can put that in, and I don't need to worry about trying to be the face of a brand if I can be the hands of the brand.
Yeah, and like for me, it was like because you kind of talked about why you started it. For me, it was I just wanted something that was not strictly weight loss. Like I don't mind talking about it, and I always talk about weight loss. And like I'll talk. I think I have something that I kind of want to bring up that I guess is kind of related to it later in the podcast today. But like I wanted something that it didn't like. If I didn't talk about a weight loss thing, it wasn't like a big deal, you know. And so for me, that's kind of what I wanted. And then I wanted something that I could collaborate on someone with, because like since I started YouTube, I've kind of been doing things on my own. Like I've had a couple friends at the start, especially like my friend Brian helped me a lot at the start. But then like once, I kind of flew from the bird's nest and did my own thing, like I've kind of been doing everything alone. And so the podcast has always been nice, and it has helped me, forced me to work with other people. you and Sam, really, for the most part. And so that's been nice. And I mean, there's a ton of other things like why I enjoy it and why I like doing it. But yeah, I think it's fun. So I don't have as long of a story as you do, but.
No, I mean, but you were asking me questions, and I just don't ask you questions. So.
Yeah, jerk. I'm the interviewer here, obviously.
No. But yeah, I mean, it's just we both come from our, like, again, both come from completely different reasonings behind why we chose to do a Work for Change podcast, but they both equally fit into the mantra, if you will, or the reasoning and the ethos of Work for Change. And I think that is the reason why we want to expand this, because there is so much that this can relate to and can go to. Like, we have Adam Klink on the podcast a couple episodes ago, who worked to become the first guy to do a 500-pound back squat and a sub 5-minute mile and 50 pull-ups in the same day and record it. Like, he worked for that, but he was already a super fit guy. But then you also have, Jessica, one of our earliest episodes, who was super overweight, lost a lot of weight, got cancer, and beat it. Like, it's just like, okay, that's another example of working and not accepting and settling where you are. And if we can make that, like, if that can be the ethos of this brand, if that can be the ethos of this podcast, of all of this, like, we're going to be better for it. All of us, every single one of us who believe in that and work towards it are going to be better because of it. And it's something that's bigger than Obese to Beast. It's bigger than Jean. It's bigger. It's something that's bigger. That's why we want people to be involved in that.
Well, and I think a big part of that is like taking the step out and like faith, or if you're scared, like, because obviously for us, like, this is a big, like, a big change. And then like, but for me, even recently, I've kind of taken the mentality with like live streams that I've been doing. Like, I've literally completely changed the way I do everything on like YouTube. And I think it actually has paid off, but it was terrifying when I started. Like, I didn't know anything about what I was doing. And like, these past few months have been the biggest learning curve in the world. Like, but now I know so much about like live streaming, and I've even like started a whole community on Discord that I have. There's like literally thousands of people on this Discord, and it's been like I can't believe I wish I would have started it sooner, because like I can't explain how like positive the community is and helpful it is. And it's not just weight loss, obviously most of it is, but there's like people that are trying to gain weight. There's people that are just enjoy doing CrossFit. There are people, obviously there are a lot of people that are trying to lose weight. And there's a lot of people that have lost weight that can answer questions and maybe answer in a different way than I would, like it's just been so cool. But a lot of that was down to me taking a step of faith and like being like, okay, this is going to be really hard, because I think that's one of the things is it's hard to take that step of faith because it's going to be difficult. Yeah. And so I was able to like I really do think that like the whole Work for Change mentality helped me kind of start this new chapter in my, online presence, I guess you could call it. And I think it's been a really good thing. Yeah. And it's still evolving to this day. Like, this office is still evolving. Like, we're planning on having like a set for Work for Change for the podcast that's completely different than what you're seeing right now. And so it's just, there's a lot of stuff that we're planning on doing, and it's exciting.
So talk a little bit, like, have you even talked about your Discord on Work for Change yet?
No, not really. I don't want to like, I don't know. I
promote.
No, not even that. I just don't like feeling like I'm always like promoting stuff. But so the Discord, what Discord is basically is like almost like a forum site, but it's like a forum site that you have to get access to. So it's forum, yeah. And so people like are on there. You can join.
Sounded like you said forum site. That sounds like so boring.
Forum site.
It's just full of forms, so you just fill it out.
No, it's like a bunch of people talking, right? Basically is what it is.
Kind of like Reddit.
Kind of, yeah, but different.
A little different.
If anyone's used Slack, it's kind of similar to that, but it's a little bit more fun. And so Slack is like more professional.
By the way, I'm part of some like church media Discords. So.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you used Discord.
Yeah.
So if you're
I'm asking as the devil's advocate or whatever,
You wanted to prove that you knew what it was.
I know what it is, guys.
What it is, okay? I'm not a boomer.
I'm not...
No, I had no idea what it was.
Okay,
I
boomer.
didn't know what it was until I started one. But basically, it's just, that's what it is. It's a forum site, and you go on there, and you can talk about whatever you want, and there's like different channels. There's like a fitness talk, and there's a general chat, and there's you can post pictures and selfies, and you can post questions, and like that's the big thing. Like a lot of people ask questions and people answer them. You know what I mean? I'm in there all the time. There's like voice chat channels, which are really cool. Like people will literally be on these voice chats for like 12 hours, and it's like crazy. Okay, maybe not 12 hours, but like 5 hours, and they'll be.
What's that?
So basically, you just go in and you can talk, and like it's just a group of people talking.
So it's not like bubble of like you have to click that person's bubble and hear what they have to say. Kind of like an iPhone one.
Everyone talks, and you like. So I mean, obviously people are respectful, but like if you wanted to yell over each other, you could. You know, and it's funny because like half of the people will go in and turn their mic off, and they won't even be talking. They just listen. And I'm just like, I wouldn't want to do that. Yeah. I'm too much of a talker. But yeah, that's what it is, man.
What's it called?
It's just. I mean, we'll put a link in the description. It's just Obese. But the thing with Discord is you have to click the link. Like you can't search it on Discord. So we'll put a link in the description of this if you want to join. But
yeah, and we'll also have a link to our website.
Yeah.
So you can buy stuff.
But yeah.
You can buy stuff.
Buy stuff and help out the podcast.
But yeah, so back to that. Pre-sale. It's live. It's going to be live until Sunday. So if you're listening live, then you have 5 days, or if you're listening on the day it launches. If you're not listening, you have until August 30th, 2020. And then Monday is when everything gets tallied up and they decide if we're going to actually make the product or not. If not, they'll just refund everyone. I'm just kidding. No, you will get your stuff.
It just might not happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
If it doesn't go well. Okay, so something I wanted to bring up. Are you done with everything? Are you done shilling now?
No, I want one more thing to talk about. At Jean Glaude on Instagram.
Okay. So I was hanging out and someone sent this to me and I just thought it was funny. And I was just like, we could talk. I don't plan on really talking about this anywhere else, but I figured the podcast would be kind of fun. So this was posted on Reddit and it ended up getting on the front page of Reddit. The front page, right? So right now it currently has almost 10,000 upvotes. And so it was posted on the subreddit Nice Girls. And it is the title of it is a woman posted this gross comment in response to this YouTuber talking about how he learned to accept his loose skin, right? And it's a video of me from like way back. It's an old one.
Yeah, it is.
It's an old video. And so the comment was, now it has 10.5 upvotes now. So the comment was, I'm glad you are okay with your body, but maybe the person you get into a relationship with isn't. She says she is, but she would really like to be on the beach with her buff man showing his gorgeous body, but she can't. I'm not saying this to upset you, just food for thought. I think you are a wonderful young man, right? And I don't want to read all of the comments, but they're all pretty nice. They're always like, a lot of them are like, Obese is literally like the nicest guy on the internet. But it's funny like when I see comments like that, because I've gotten comments like that a lot. And it's funny when people, it's just projecting, right? It's because that person obviously wouldn't be comfortable with it. And like for me, that's fine. Like I truly do understand that loose skin is different. And for some people it's weird and gross. And like, I'm not going to sit here and say everyone has to accept my loose skin. And if they don't, they're a bigot or they're a terrible person. Like, I think that's kind of ridiculous, you know? And so for me, it's just funny when I see those comments of people that obviously they themselves wouldn't be comfortable with it, and maybe they're even dealing with loose skin themselves, because the comments are, because I talk about it and I say I don't really want to get surgery, I don't really plan on it. And like people literally will leave those comments. I posted a picture on Instagram a couple weeks ago. It was after a workout, was shirtless or whatever, and you can see my skin. And this girl just went in and was so mean. Like she was like, I can't, like, don't you want a girlfriend? Like, this is so disgusting. Like, how could you ever, and I was just like, I was a little spicy, and I replied, I was like, well, the reason that you wouldn't like it is because maybe you're a little bit shallow, and which is fine. You can be shallow, but then she just went off. Like, it was crazy. She started being racist and being like it was, I was like, okay, this was probably just a troll. But the thing is that for me, that I don't know how to explain it, but when one thing I don't like, and I understand people have really good intentions when they're doing it, but it's when people respond to them and they try and like argue for me. Yeah. Because like I don't need it, and honestly, I shouldn't have replied to that person. But like when people reply and then they start this whole thread going, it's weird for me to look at it, because it's like I really don't need someone defending how I feel. Like I just don't. Like I don't do it for that. But yeah, people don't believe me when I say like people genuinely get upset that I haven't gotten the surgery, but like there really are people that are genuinely upset that I haven't gotten it.
Yeah. So where do you think it comes from? So you were saying that you don't want to get loose skin, but you don't care if anyone else decides to do it or not, or loose skin surgery. But like, where do you think it comes from when someone holds an opinion so strongly about a non-moral issue? Like, I understand where people come from when it's like a moral issue, because you like legitimately feel like you need to be the voice of compassion or reason on a specific issue. But when it is an amoral issue that has no consequence either way, if you want to get loose skin surgery or not, like, where do you think that comes from when people feel an emotional response to need to tell you their feelings on it? You know what I mean?
I think that it's a lot of people have been like, I think as a society, we've been trained to like we want to see things to the end, right? To the finish line. And a lot of people in their minds, the finish line is getting loose skin surgery. You know, and so when they see that I haven't, they feel like I have not. Like I get a lot of the comments were like, "Don't you want to see what you've worked for?" Or like, "You're not even able to see what you've done." And like for me, I'm like, well, no, I can see what I've done. I see it every day, you know. But for a lot of people, like they have seen so many shows that they do like the before and after. And the after will be like after they've gotten loose skin surgery, you know? And so I think that's a big part of it is like, and then just in general, our society is a huge part. I keep saying society. That word just makes me laugh now because it's a meme. But a big part of it is vanity. It just is. And especially when we're talking about fitness and stuff, right? So a lot of people get into fitness for vanity reasons, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. But like, that's why a lot of people get into it. And I think those people, when they see someone that's very into fitness like I am, you know, I'm very fit. I'm going to be at the game soon.
Spectating.
Probably in 3 years. When they see someone like that, it just is a disconnect. And they're like, "What? Why are you doing this then? Stop." Like, there's no reason to work. Like that's a thing. I think that's where their mind is. Like, there's no reason for you to work out because you can't look good. In their mind, I don't look good, right? So like, you cannot look good, so why are you wasting your time? Like, this is, you know what I mean? I think that's where it comes from.
I mean, what, like, I think a follow-up question then is like, why do we feel as a society that everyone needs to know our opinion on everything? Like, where does that come from? Like there are many things in which I disagree with, and either I have three options, right? The first one is to keep on scrolling, especially on social media. Keep on scrolling, and now I don't think about that anymore. It's pretty great. Second option is engage and just have a whole bunch of negative emotions and for no reason and let it control the rest of my day. And the third option is unfollow, right? Like, I wonder, like, where do you think, why do people's every opinion need to be shared?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I would say for people that feel like they want to say, like, that are just being mean, they just want to be mean. Like, I think that's just the thing.
Hurt people.
Yeah, they
had a bad day, and so they want to unleash on someone else.
And that happens often. Like, not every day, but, like, it happens if I respond. And because if I respond, a lot of people will, like, have my back, right? The person will message me and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I've been having a bad day," or "I didn't think you'd respond." You know, I get that all the time. I'm just like, jeez. But I think that's a big part of it is they themselves are hurt. But the thing I hate when people are like, don't respond because that person's obviously hurting. When it's like, I don't know, like when I'm the one that's getting these comments, it's easy on the outside to be like, just don't respond, like leave it alone. But like when it's like constant, it's like hard to never respond ever. Yeah. But I will say it's almost never a good idea. Like I almost never respond, and then I'm like, yeah, dude, freaking crushed them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, you hear like in movies and TV shows, like, what do you do to the bully? You stand up to him. But it's like if you have a bully on social media, the idea is to ignore him, right? Like it's like the opposite. So I don't know. I think I wish I understood. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking through like how much of what we think, like, why do we think our opinion is? People are full of themselves, dude. Like, that's part of it too. Yeah. Like, people are,
Hey, we got an order.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for whoever was listening in real time.
Yeah.
We have these. I should turn that off. We have these notifications on our phone that whenever someone orders something, we get a notification.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, some people are they're just jerks. Like,
so I don't know how many people are in America, but let's just say there's 7 billion people on the planet, right? Like,
I think America is like 300 million.
Yeah,
maybe close to 400 million now.
yeah, like, so
This is America.
you're one
Don't catch me.
of hundreds of millions of people within a specific nation, and then one of billions of people in the world. Like, I think it's healthy to recognize that, you know what, maybe my opinion doesn't need to be shared, right? Like, why do I think that I am the voice crying in the wilderness that is going to change everything?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that but then there's the other side, right? There's the other side of everyone's voice matters, especially like in democracy. I mean, that might be a part of it. Like, we're living in.
Well, the reason I'm smiling is because I'm like, I can't really say anything because a lot of my videos are my opinions on
I know.
things. So I'm like, well, you know.
Yeah. But again, it's like.
I'm just being honest.
No, totally. Yeah. So basically, I was just trying to like passive aggressively call you out.
Yeah. Why do people make videos called? Let me one second. I'm just gonna look this up real
Yeah.
quick.
But it's like, I mean, I guess I understand, like, a democracy is the belief that if enough people hold a specific view, change happens because you vote for it and you make your voice heard. But then it's like, maybe we just haven't translated that into there are things you can change and there are things you can't change.
Yeah.
And, like, don't waste your energy on things that you can't change. Which, I mean, obviously, the name of the podcast is Work for Change, but there are things, like, that you can't change. Like, there are things that you have to learn to either accept, reject, or, you know, that serenity prayer or whatever, where it's like, give me the courage to change the things I can and the whatever to accept the things I cannot. I don't know. I don't know what the prayer is. I'm not very religious.
People that don't, they're not going to understand that joke at all.
I know. Well, I work at a church, so that's a good.
Jean is very much so fake religious. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I do think that there's like a difference. So I think that sharing your opinion is fine, but being like toxic about it, right? Like, because a lot of my videos, I'm sharing my opinion on these people's opinions, basically is what it is, right? I'm sharing my opinion based on these people's like rhetoric. And whenever I say rhetoric, people are like, that's I'm not saying it in a negative way. Everyone has rhetoric, right? This podcast is our rhetoric. It's just, you know, the words that you speak and the thoughts that you put out there. And so I am challenging that rhetoric, right, in these videos that I make. But I'm not attacking the people. Like, there's a difference there. And I think that's important to to have this distinction of, okay, I disagree with what you're saying, but I'm not also going to be like, and also you're a fat piece of crap and disgusting and nasty, right? For me, even
though you tell me that all the time.
Yeah, well, that's because you are. No. But like, there is a difference. Like, if someone were to message me, and I get like nice messages of people being like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, when I lose my weight, I'm going to get loose skin surgery. But the fact, you know what I mean? And they're technically disagreeing with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they're not saying also you're disgusting and nasty and you have loose skin and it's gross, right? And so like, there's a difference there. And I think that's an important distinction. Like, and it's like nuance that's lost a lot right now in conversations and stuff. Like, people, it's hard for people to disagree with others while still not like attacking silly things.
I wouldn't say they disagree with you, because you've never put out a video saying don't get loose skin surgery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think maybe there's an element of like, we don't know how to differentiate someone's decisions, like, for themselves versus their expectations on other people, right? Like, you can believe one thing. I really don't want to make any examples because every example is going to be a grenade. So I'm just going to be very vague. You can believe one thing about life for yourself and still not decide to put that on everyone else. And you can still allow them to kind of live life.
So like, you can believe the yellow flowers are the best.
You can believe yellow flowers are the best.
Okay.
I'm kind of offended that you use that example, but it's
Shut
fine.
up.
You can believe yellow flowers are the best and not demand that every store only sells yellow flowers or that every store should put yellow flowers on sale so more people can have access to them. You can hold a specific thing and still not expect everyone else to act that same way. And I think that a lot of what is a lot of cultural frustrations is that we hold a belief and then we go, now everyone else believe that or else.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when we can't have variance and belief and when we can't have, like, nuance and dialogue, there's no relationship. There's no connection. Like, that's where, like, there's so much gray in relationships. There's so much, like, okay, that's what you believe, that's what I believe, but we're going to choose to work together on this. And that builds stronger relationships than never disagreeing with someone ever.
Why do you think that it's that's fractured so much recently?
Well, I would say that the current state of politics, I would say, is designed to cause division within people. Here's what we believe it with us, stand on our side, and let's hate the other person, right? And I would say that, like, as big as YouTube and as big as all these other things are, still they don't touch mainstream media. You know what I mean? Like, mainstream media still has a lock on culture. And a lot of what we see in mainstream media is you have Fox versus CNN. You know what I mean? Like, you have, it's Fox again. It's Fox versus the world. Is what it feels like, you know. And I'm not saying I subscribe to Fox by any means. I'm just saying, like, there's definite set of views that are believed.
Well, and it's like they have also, like, dehumanized each other's side, right?
Yeah.
So it's like SJWs, blah, 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 right? And so it's like SJW instead of the person. And then on the other side, it's like conservative, redneck, whatever, like, you know, and it's just you dehumanize the person so you can attack them and not feel like you're attacking them. But what I was getting at, that I was kind of hoping you would bring up, and I'm sure you're probably going to get there soon, but I think part of also why things have become so, like, toxic and so divisive is Corona. Like, being separate, everyone is, we're not having human interaction. Like, slowly it's starting again, but for like literally like half a year, it's been all online. And online, everyone has their own thoughts and they will say it however they want. Like I like to watch debates on YouTube, right? And you can tell, like, debates where people are at their own house and they're debating each other, right? Conservative versus, liberal or whatever you want. Like, they will scream, they'll yell at each other, but you take those same two people for the most part and you put them in a room together, usually that doesn't happen. And that's like an extreme example of it.
I mean, it can, but
it can, but for the most part,
those are the ones that get viral.
But for the most part, in person, like, the conversations we have with people, like, even, like, you know, it's a lot easier to be spicy over a text message than it is if you're right in front of the person. You have to say it to their face and see how your words affect that person. You know, and so I think that's also a big part of it, is that people are just, and, like, for me, I honestly don't even think it's really affected me that much because I've always had online people talking to me, but, like, for a lot of people just that maybe haven't had to deal with it as much, now they are dealing with it a little bit more because, you know, Aunt Susie said this one thing and you want to go attack her for it, and then now your family's in shambles because, you know, whatever,
it's
like, whatever
Susie.
happened. Yeah, I know. Stupid
Always
Susie.
Susie.
I'm just kidding.
And I think just, I mean, there's no filter, right? Like, there's no filter in communication online. There's no forgiveness. There's no, like, reading body language. It's just, you just blurt. You just go for it.
And it's like, you just think of, like, I have literally never, ever had anyone come up to me and say anything about my loose skin in person. Literally not one time. Ever. And if they, I'm trying to think if it's ever happened. If it's ever happened, they were saying, "Oh, how much weight have you lost?" Like, and I've walked around beaches with my shirt off. I've done many workouts with my shirt off. Like, literally never had a single person say anything to my face about it. Versus every day it happens online. Yeah, it's just, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like you have more, you feel like you have more power and you have more of a barrier between you when you're typing it out on a keyboard versus when you're saying it to someone's face. It just is how it is.
Yeah. I was listening to, my back has been on the fritz. And
Yeah,
so
I wanted to ask about that.
I haven't been doing a lot of CrossFit.
But you have been doing stuff, and
Yeah.
that's a big for you.
That is big for
Because
me.
normally if you can't do class, you literally will do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Yeah. So,
So I'm proud of you. I wanted to bring that up.
I'll get further into that. But I have been... First, I was watching you. So, okay, I guess I have to. I've just been doing an hour of cardio every day on whatever machine is available, except the rower.
Well, yeah.
An hour on the rower is a very long time.
Hour on the skier would be really bad.
Yeah. So basically, I've been doing either the assault bike or the C2 bike.
Yeah.
And I did the rower for like 10 minutes. I'm like, nah.
Was it hurt or was you just bored?
It was just. It's like I might have had the resistance on too high because I was like, I can't do this for an hour. You know, like
Yeah.
I was like this.
Well, I mean, it's probably
a bike. You can just kind of cruise.
you were probably just pulling too hard. Honestly, is
yeah,
probably the main thing.
But the damper. That's the word I was looking for. But so I've been doing an hour of cardio every day. I did the assault bike 3 times last week. 4 times. 3 times, and then today's Monday that we're recording, and I already did my hour on the C2 bike.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When?
This morning. So I
okay.
went to class, but I didn't do class. And so, yeah, I'm like,
What was where? I'm assuming you were getting there, but like, why have you finally decided to do that?
I mean, it's super vain. I just want to look like I work out.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't work out, at least I want to look like I work out.
Yeah.
So I'll put myself in a... I'm trying to put myself in a little bit of a caloric deficit, lose some body fat. So then... Because throughout I've been doing CrossFit for 4 years. I was doing bodybuilding stuff for 1.5 years, 2 years before that. So I have muscle. It's just been hiding. It's just been hiding. So it's like, if I'm in this season of, like, more working out hurts my back, let me just do something that is more low-intensity, steady state cardio. Like today, an hour on the bike burned 600 calories, and so it's like that's a good solid deficit to start my day. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's not like some magic formula. It's just that, hey, I if I'm not going to work out, I don't want to gain a whole bunch of weight. So let me just do this. And in the meantime, technically, what I probably could do is eat less and then just not do cardio, but I don't want to.
Well, I
at
mean,
least like I like the feeling of sweating. And
I think that
perspirating and
working on your cardio is good for your health overall anyway.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So I was started by watching just a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So I was like, oh, this one's 40 minutes. That's great. And then I'll watch a little one after. Or this one's...
As you're biking.
Yeah. But now it's like, I'll just watch like Joe Rogan podcast or something. Like, I like having the visual podcast, which is why I've decided, like, I feel like we've decided to stick with this YouTube format instead of stopping the videos, because it is nice to have something, even to just zone out and watch.
Yeah.
Because it's different listening to a podcast with nothing, and then also just being able to kind of glance at the screen every once in a while and see
Not that
it.
we have the most people that watch, but the few people that do appreciate it.
I wonder if people, like, when they look up our podcast, they look on YouTube first and they go, oh no, they only have like 300 views. I don't want to. When it's like the bulk of our views are or listens are on Spotify and iTunes, but
mostly on iTunes.
Yeah, but there was someone was telling me about listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, the most recent one with Ben Shapiro, which happened 2 months ago, I think. It was like they were just talking about Corona and stuff like that. And then I was looking at the comments, just while I'm on the bike, just looking at the comments, and a lot of people are like, this is how you have a good disagreement. And I was like, I wasn't there yet. So I was like super interested. And all the comments were like, wow, they were so respectful about disagreeing with each other. They were so respectful about blah, blah, blah. And then it got to that part in the podcast, and like they had totally different views on Black Lives Matter, on the protests, on the riots, on personal responsibility, on Black Lives Matter. I don't know if I already said that already, but
did.
Okay. That was a big point. But like on systemic racism, like they had very different viewpoints on it. But they were laughing, they were joking, they were bringing it up, talking about it. Well, what about this? Well, you got to consider this. Well, what about this? And super like respectful. And it was like a lot of people were saying like, we've forgotten how to disagree. Because in any other circumstance, like especially on a charged issue, like coronavirus, protests, riots, and Black Lives Matter, like that can get heated and you can totally miss the point the person's trying to say because you're just so mad at that person for bringing it up. And what that was a long story just to say it was really cool to hear it was really cool to hear two adults dialogue on something, and of course these are experts. That's all they do is they talk. That's their job, is to talk. But even then, they disagreed, but they were respectful of each other. And so I highly recommend, even not for the point of view that was put across or anything, but I highly recommend listening to the last episode with Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan, because it's a great way to dialogue with someone you disagree with. And that is the end of that rant right there, or point.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to just attack.
It's easy to villainize one of the things you said that I totally agree with is as soon as you call someone a name, they lose all nuance, right? For example, I'm not saying I am, but I could, in theory, support Trump and not be racist, right? But as soon as someone says, "Oh, you support Trump, you're a racist," it's you've lost. There's no nuance there. There's no you have labeled me and put me in a tiny little box, and now there's no room for gray anymore. And I think that as soon as we start labeling people stuff, they lose the nuance. And it's you can be someone who believes in body positivity and not health at every size. But as soon as you say, "Oh, you're one of those body positive people," it's you've labeled them and put them into a box, and now they can no longer break out of the box, and now they have to work harder just to get out of that box that they never should have been put in anyway, but someone decided to label them that way.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that is optics too, because I know that when people will say "Oh, you support Trump, you're a racist," this is what I've seen in other podcasts and things that I've watched is people usually mean that if you support someone that has racist ideas, you yourself are supporting that, so you yourself are no better than that. I think it's just, I don't think it's not if your goal is to actually change someone's mind, that's probably not the best optics, is to call someone a racist for supporting Trump, whether or not that's what you might think. If you really if you just want to rile someone up, whatever, do your thing. I guess then obviously what we're saying isn't for you. But if you actually want to change someone's mind, most people, when you call them a racist, are not going to respond in a wait. How can I not be racist then? They're going to respond in, "I'm not a racist. You're stupid." And then nothing's going to change.
I also have something to say. On the flip side, I was just thinking about this. If you try your hardest to become a label, you lose nuance in yourself as well. So a big popular one I would say is becoming anti-racist. I'm an anti-racist. And it's so now you amongst those thought processes, which I don't think are bad, there are in order to be an anti-racist, you have to post and do and say these things. So now it's now you are yourself choosing to lose nuance in order to fit in with a specific type of person. And I think that's just as dangerous as well, which is scary because it feels good to belong to a tribe. That definitely feels good. But I think a lot of the times we are so focused on belonging to a tribe and then therefore hating the other tribe that we forget that most ideologies have a lot of crossover. And it's let's stop focusing on the extremes. And let's try to find that it's that meme with the white bicep and the black bicep, and they're it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and some other guy. That's the actual one. But it's focus on those, bring them together and shake hands instead of being this is why we're opposite and we'll never enjoy each other.
Yeah, it's just, I think that's much easier said than done. Sorry. Because
I'm sorry, I'm boring you.
These these topics are intense. They are it's scary to talk about, especially if you don't have insanely strong opinions on these things.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous talking about it, but I also feel it's worth talking about. You know what I mean?
But it's it can be scary. So a lot of times all the people that might be in the middle that are trying to learn, they're afraid to say anything because you get afraid that if you say something that's wrong, you're going to be labeled, on each side. And I understand that. I think recently I've been trying to not be that person.
It's like
and
the
just
fear of cancel culture.
Yeah, like lately I've been trying to obviously do my research, but actually share how I feel about things, you know? And like I know every time I talk about anything about this stuff, like people get very upset with me. Like I filmed a video a couple days ago, and in the video I was saying how I don't think that being discriminated against because of your size is the same as being discriminated against because of your color, the color of your skin, right? And I said, like, I believe white privilege is a thing. I think it exists. I do. I don't think that skinny privilege or thin privilege is, if it does exist, which I think it does to a certain extent, it's not the same as white privilege, right? Because like if you are like at an unhealthy body weight, you can make changes, and it would probably be for your benefit for the most part, to make those changes to live a healthier life, live a more comfortable life, yada yada yada, right? But for someone that they are discriminated against because of their skin color, or the system has discriminated against them because of their skin color, they can't just change their skin color, right? And then whenever I say that, people are like, whoa, Michael Jackson. I mean, that was like a disease, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're born how you're born, right? Skin color, sexual orientation, all those things. Like you can't just change those things. But I knew if I said that, and there was tons of comments in the comment section calling me like, whatever, soy boy kind of thing, whatever. But like, I don't know. Like I think it's important if you do believe in certain things, you can state those things. Like I didn't say that if you disagree, I hate you and like you're nasty, but I think that sharing how you feel, I think is important as well. But it is scary because that happens, and I know a lot of people can't really handle that. So I personally don't fault anyone for maybe not, but for me, I've found value in sharing those things. I don't know. For me, it's like, it's the same thing. Work for change. It's like, it's scary, but taking that step out, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't know.
Yeah. Talking about when you were talking about, I don't know. I lost it. It was gone. I thought if I could just say enough times, it would come back, but it didn't come back. So, you're gonna, it definitely, like, if you don't want to get caught and you don't want to get stuck and you don't want to be labeled, and it's just there's safety in your tribe and there's safety in numbers, but I think like there's a definite tide, like at the beach when you're in the water.
Yeah, there's tides at the beach.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot of people who are landlocked and they don't understand. Like, if you stand in a lake and you stand there for 10 minutes, you're going to be in the same spot. But if you stand in the ocean, right, and you just kind of stand there for 10 minutes, like maybe waist deep, you'll actually find you're like 50 feet down shore. Like, so there's tides, and if you do nothing, you end up in a different spot. And so there's definitely tides of culture and there's tides of thought where if you don't stop and think, what do I believe about this? You will find yourself with like 50 feet down shore with, with everyone else who's like, nope, this is like, what I'm saying is think about your thoughts, right? Like think about, but seriously, I mean, that sounds stupid, but it's true. Like if you find yourself like someone says something and you mean to go, that's stupid. Like, whoa, hold on.
Why do I think that's stupid?
Why do I think that's stupid? And do I actually think that's stupid? Or have I heard on politics, or have I heard on Trevor Noah, or have I heard on whatever, like that I should think that's stupid, and therefore that's why I think it's stupid. Like think about the thought processes that brought you to your opinions. And I'm not asking you to change your opinion on anything. I don't care. But I do want, if you're going to state your opinion, like I want you to really believe that opinion.
Well, state your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't state other people's opinion.
Don't give me secondhand backwash opinions. Like give me your opinion.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think we're going that far yet. I don't think we're reaching that point. Anyway, this podcast got real.
Yeah. But with that being said, let us know your opinion on this podcast by leaving a review. And let us know your opinion on the merch once you get it, because you guys are all going to order some and it's going to be great.
And it'll really help us out. And
then we'll be able to make more cooler stuff in the future.
So that's the way this works, right? If you guys like our stuff, hopefully you'll want to do it again. If we create some crap stuff, let us know and don't order from us again because we deserve it. But I really do believe that like what we're creating is some awesome stuff. And even if like the design isn't your favorite thing, but you heard that whole spiel we were talking about of work for change and a brand and an identity, and you believe in that, a real tangible way to help us is either leaving a review or buying our merchandise. Those are two very tangible ways that will help us.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Peace.